You guys, what I've been channeling right now is that there are some things that are draining us, right? And the reason they're draining us is because they're not quite in alignment with us. So the things that are not in alignment will drain you. Some of us are spiritually exhausted as well, okay? Because we've been too much up here in our headspace and we need to ground a little bit more right now. And then some of us are exhausted or drained because we are trying to force ourselves into places where we have outgrown. Others of us are exhausted because we are not meant to be and live and work like machines. And it's like trying to have this dream and balance out your spiritual and all of these things. You guys, I just want to let you know you're not lazy. All right. Right now, if you've been experiencing this draining feeling, you're probably more than likely spiritually exhausted. I had to sit and channel with spirit because I was like, what is this tiredness? And there's a reading I did on my Facebook maybe about a week or so ago that explains some of it. And I've really been realizing myself over this past week that there's a difference between being tired from growth, right? And then also from being drained from constantly forcing yourself into things that aren't aligned with you anymore, right? Like I know that there's some types of things like that I will try to do. And it's like, I really don't want to go to this event with this person, or I really don't want to do this sort of thing. And it's like you go and you wind up just so drained after it because it's not in alignment with us. All right. This is not what we're supposed to be doing. And I think that a lot of us are just in this sort of survival mode. We've went back into it. All the shit that's happening in the world right now, in the universe, all of these damn trials, this stuff with Trump, like everything, I think a lot of us are in survival mode. And we're simultaneously at the same time, because we were already healing, we were growing, building, and, we're trying to stay disciplined. And it's like at the same time, we're trying to stay hopeful. And at the same damn time, we're trying to enjoy life at the same time. And I think it's just all of these things. But I did want to come and explain that there is a difference between being tired and a difference between being drained, right? Some things are going to tire you out physically, but they may fulfill your spirit. Like when I be from overworking yourself, right? Maybe your job is giving extra hours. I was doing it at the beginning of the month and I'm like, okay, girl, what are you doing right now? Chill the fuck out. You're not about to slave yourself for these people and then don't have time to come and do your videos or come and do your work because you're so tired on your days off. I work on my business. Like I had to clean my shop the other day. When I went to bed, I was happy. When I do cleansings and things for people, I'm tired, I'm drained, but I'm happy, I am fulfilled. And then there's other things that drain your soul completely. And I want you to start paying attention how you feel after you're around certain people, after you do certain habits that maybe they were good for you in the past, but they're not anymore. Certain jobs, conversations, or environments that you may put yourself in. Survival mode is really when we disconnect from ourselves, right? And we start normalizing that exhaustion a little bit too much. That's one real big thing right now that is draining a lot of people. Another thing that can drain you is forcing yourself like to fit into a mold, right? Maybe, like I said, it's something that you've outgrown. A lot of times we get into relationships or friendships, jobs, things with places, we might even live in a space. And at that time, we need to. But then as you grow and as you change, your identity is going to shift. And sometimes things will no longer fit. This is why one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of marriage, because a lot of times your mate doesn't know how to shift with you. And now staying in that situation, performing in order to survive, right? You know that this isn't really what you want, but you're putting on this mask, this performance so that you can stay familiar, or even just staying in cycles because they're familiar, or making fear-based choices versus power-based choices because they're familiar, but they're draining you because it's not you anymore, right? The more you force yourself into molds that no longer fit you, the more exhausted you become, literally. I've tried it, y'all. I've tried it. It don't work. And it's like, and so what you find is yourself alone a lot of times. And it's okay. You're only alone until you meet new people. Some of us are tired because we've just been carrying versions of ourselves that spirit already asked us to release. And the longer you try to do that, you're going to wind up crossing yourself up. Or crossing your mind up. Like I said, when you are doing one thing, but your heart says another, your actions say another, your mental say another, Sometimes you'll wind up crossing up your mental and your emotional. Okay. Your thoughts can literally keep you spiritually tangled as well. Overthinking. A lot of us be on this device, our phones, we're doom scrolling, right? And we wind up putting ourselves in like this constant fear. Then a lot of us behind the scenes, we're dealing with things like negative self talk. Maybe we're just confused because we are in this middle and we don't know where to go. You now pay attention to anything that drains you. Also, pay attention to the things that energize you afterwards. That is your body giving you that sensor. And a lot of times that happens in our sacral chakra, our solar plexus. Okay. That's a lot of times those butterflies or those good feelings or those scary feelings that we get in our stomach. Okay. Because everything that's draining is not worth keeping. You want those feelings that when you're around somebody, when you're around a friend, when you're done completing a task, you want those feelings of, I feel good even when you're tired, right? You're drained, but you're at peace. You got clarity, your confidence, your spirit. You're not ignoring those things. Okay. Not all the things that are exhausting you guys are meant to stay in your life. They are not meant for you. Survival thinking, all of these things, sometimes your thoughts just need for you to uncross them too. Sometimes you just have to sit with yourself. And if your mind is constantly crowded, fearful or overstimulated in these things, you might just need to sit still so that you can hear yourself clearly. And this is when you guys like your uncrossing candles, your road opener work, all of those things like that, your blockbusters, that's when those come into play, right? When you're cleansing yourself, you want to concentrate on your feet, the things that are tripping you up. All right. In those phases, and that's what we should be doing right now during this dark moon phase as we release. This is a time. Do intentional routines, prayer, meditation, deep thinking, things like that, journaling, okay, and releasing. Okay, releasing because with the new moon is coming up on Saturday and you don't have time to be playing around because you guys, nature moves in cycles. The planets, all of us move in cycles. And it requires space, okay? One thing that we have to do if you're trying to uncross yourself, if you're trying to get yourself out of those places so that you can be more in alignment, you're going to have to sit still so that you can see what is even crossing me up. What is spirit teaching me right now? What am I supposed to be learning, right? How can I move through this rhythm or move through this with rhythm versus moving through this energy with force and trying to force this? We talked about this in my red room actually this week, like being curious, being more playful with it versus trying to be in control of the situations, right? Because sometimes that'll cross us up too because we're just so like anxious on what's happening next. And we're living in the future when you're doing that, right? When you have anxiety, it's because you are living all the way out there where things have not even began. All right. If you have in depression, it's because you're all the way back there in the past where things are no longer at. All right, you guys, we have harvest seasons and we also have resting seasons. We have seasons for work. We have seasons for play. Learn to be more cyclical. Learn to give your space time for all of those things. And then it won't be like when something happens or when, things start draining you so much, right? Because you'll already be moving. But literally, it's time for you to uncross yourselves. That's what this is. A lot of us are crossed up right now. So go ahead, do your road opening work, do your blockbuster work. There's herbs like stonebreaker. Okay, it literally breaks through. There are herbs like stonebreaker, I was saying, that literally, I forget the technical term for it, but stonebreaker is one. You can look it up. It literally, in the physical, we use it to get rid of kidney stones, okay, to break through. Herbs like Cascara sagrada. Now, I don't know. I grew up with my grandma. And so this was one of those things that they would give you when you was a child to get your bowels moving, to make things run, okay, to cause flow. Water, you guys, you can use water even, okay? And I'm doing actually a water class on June 23rd. If you are inside the Red Room membership, it comes with it. All right. You guys, if you want to go deeper on lessons like this with me and things, join the Red Room. We talk once a month deeply for a couple of hours. And then I also post random things in there. We also do ritual once a month. I'm about to post that here today too. So yeah, you guys, if you want to go a little bit deeper, but I'm going to give you a little tips, of course. Use your orange, green, blue, or orange, green, white, and yellow candles, depending on what it is that you're trying to break through right now at this time. Okay, some of you guys may need to do a stronger cleanse. You may need to. It depends. How much have you crossed yourself up? Have you crossed yourself to the point of hexing yourself? You may need to do a bath for about 13 days, 1 day, 3 day. Listen to your spirit when you do these things. Each one of those days have different meanings. The times that you would do those for have different meanings. But listen to your spirit and cleanse yourself really good right now at this time, and release anything that is holding you back, anything that may be keeping you in that survival mode. Because what I really feel is that you're past that. Okay. I don't think that you're there anymore. I think you're just there because you are either, like I said, keeping up with the people and trying to fit yourself into these spaces that you've outgrown, or you're there because, you're still living in the past, right? You physically are living, doing habits and things of your past, but you have evolved, you have upgraded, you are no longer that person. So the longer you try to fit into those old things, and I understand that at one point they used to fulfill your spirit, but right now, you guys, you're so far past that. You're so much more elevated than a lot of the things that you are choosing to deal with right now. And that's why those certain people, habits, conversations, jobs, like I can't even talk to you right now anymore. Ew. You're over it. Okay. For those of you guys that don't know, my name is Lisa Kidd. I'm a spiritual strategist, and I'm gonna start coming on here a lot more, just having these types of talks with you guys, right? So that we can see the things that we may be normalizing and the things that we can kind of see some reference. Okay. And here is where I will talk. And in the red room is where I will kind of teach and things like that. Love Light Lingerie. Thanks for joining me, you guys. If you like this video and if you'd like to see more, go ahead and drop me a thumbs up. I hope you made it to the end.